It has been a week. I'm on my fourth cup of coffee today. I've had, I want to say, 11 hours of sleep across the past 3 nights. That sounds about right. And I don't know if tonight's going to get any better. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is News and Week in Review. Going over news, games, all the usual stuff. I have a giveaway announcement as well as far as who won the Marvel Champions giveaway. Apologies about all the people who got spammed with comments from a Telegram or whatever. This is not the first time it's happened, by the way. I need to stop doing giveaways that start when I'm about to go offline for the weekend, because that's when the spammers show up and they get 24 hours of free reign before I block their accounts, which is not good. If that doesn't make any sense to you, it means you didn't comment on the giveaway, and it means you didn't get somebody who's like, hey, you won a giveaway, and come on over and sign up and talk to us on Telegram, because that's what I do apparently, along with misspellings, mispronunciations. Okay, the mispronunciations is probably on brand, never mind that. But it is, yeah, I will not ever have you, if you ever win a giveaway on this channel, alex@boardgameco.com. That's my email. If it's alex@boardgamecoRus.com, that's somebody else. If it's alex@boardgameswelove heart emoji.com, that's also somebody else. It's alex@boardgameco.com. That's basically it. And also make sure to check the names of the people who comment, like the actual channel names, because telegram@boardgameco.com is not one of them. I'm getting majorly sidetracked. Let's go ahead and dive into this. Timestamps, links, all the things as usual in the description down below. Let's start off with the giveaway winner. Last week I did a deluxification video. I offered a giveaway for, well, not I actually, this is actually sponsored by One Sharp Joe. So if you if you want to support them or this or that, I'll throw a link down below to One Sharp Joe Etsy store. Does a bunch of fantastic inserts. I use them for my Marvel Champions and my Dominion, and he's twice now done a giveaway on the channel. So you can check that out if you want. And if you did win, then you don't need to, I guess, because you have one, although you'll probably want more anyway, so it's probably good for him that way. But Dark Paladin, I will reply to your comment, or I'll attempt to reply to your comment if I can find it. You won the Marvel Champions insert. I will comment, and then, as per the notes, if no one claims this in a week, my email is alex@boardgameco.com, nothing else. If no one claims this within a week, then I will be giving it away over on Patreon. That's the giveaway news. From there, let's dive into other news, and starting off with something that is not the best news. I mean, it made me sad, which is Dorado Games, who have done, they've done the Road for the Quest for El Dorado, they've done the Age of Atlantis, and most recently, and probably my favorite, well, definitely my favorite because it's the only one I've played from them, is they've done the Legend one, Legend Academy, which is a fantastic game, and they put out a video basically saying, hey, the pandemic has been what the pandemic has been, and we've been hit with giant shipping bills on top of whatever, and our theoretical profit margin, I say theoretical because until you've paid yourself for all your time, it's all theoretical. When you run a company as a full-time thing, your salary is part of the company's expenses. And so, if you ignore that, which you shouldn't, then they were theoretically able to get to a point where they pay themselves an actual salary for the time. As it is, they've been hit with like $150,000 in surprise shipping bills, so they're not. That's the nature of the game. They're not forcing anyone to pay anything else. They're eating it as they're eating it. They're eating that cost, which, I mean, it makes sense. That is the right thing to do. It's just, it's hard because people sacrifice to be in this industry. They sacrifice. And there'll be 2 kinds of people who hear this, by the way. And I mean, Quacklo put out a video talking about this, which is worth watching. I'll link that down below. And yes, the comments would definitely indicate there's 2 kinds of people. There are people who, I would say there's actually 3 kinds of people. And I think I'm in the middle, which I usually find myself. There's 3 kinds of people. There are people I don't want to know, who just have no degree of sympathy in their heart for anything, and they're literally like, well, you shouldn't have gotten into a business if you couldn't make it, or you shouldn't have done this. There's just like a degree of no empathy, no care, no giving for another human being whatsoever. It's just kind of, well, screw you for not succeeding. Okay, congratulations. You're scum. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to apologize. I don't really care. I don't have time or patience for any one of you if you don't have sympathy for the consequences of something that has happened to somebody, regardless of whether they should or shouldn't have done the thing that got them there. When bad things happen to people, have sympathy for them. You could disagree with their decision as to how things got there. You can say that was a mistake. You can say that was the wrong move. You honestly shouldn't say it. You should probably think it to yourself and leave it alone. I regularly, on an ongoing basis, believe that people have bad things happen that they are responsible for. And I have sympathy for them that the bad thing has happened. When someone sacrifices to be in an industry that they love, and your argument is, well, you shouldn't have done that, you might be right. You're also cold and heartless, so whatever. But that's person type number 1. Definitely some of those. Person type number 2 is where I find myself, which is I understand, and this applies to myself. I'm entering this content creator thing full time. I'm taking a pay cut to do this. in order to do something I love and pursue? And the answer might be, well, then you signed up for whatever happens. The answer is, you're right, I did. But if something bad happens, feel bad for me, please, I guess. I mean, I don't really care, honestly, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the people who are invested in everything. But either way, I find myself in the middle. I find myself of, when you sign up to do something you love for a living, the potential trade-off is you get something really good on the other end. You get to be in the hobby that you love and get paid to do so. Which, speaking as someone who's trying to do that, that's amazing. And it's something worth potentially sacrificing over. But also, when things don't go your way, I'm incredibly sympathetic. And Dorado Games, practically speaking, they're taking full-time jobs and they're continuing Dorado Games, but like as a side passion project because they can't rely on it for an actual income. And so I find myself in the sympathetic, understanding the realities of the world, but very sympathetic aspect. That's why I've simultaneously on this channel, you'll see me say things like, oh, don't back that project, get it at retail instead because it saves you money. And then you'll see me put up other videos that are like, hey, these people are, dealing with the fallout of the pandemic, you can help, donate, and have sympathy for the publisher. So which is it? Am I for the publisher? Am I for you? And the answer is it's complicated. Like everything in life, it's complicated. It's situational, it's dependent. I guarantee you I'll make the wrong call here and there. I will do the things. It's complicated. Life is complicated. I'm spending way more time on this segment than I planned. It should be its own video at this point. Maybe we'll make this the topic of the week. I don't know. Whatever. But it is complicated. And then the third type of person, maybe we will make this the topic of the week. The video's going to be too long otherwise. The third type of person is just genuine, complete caring and compassion. And I think that's laudable. I think there's a degree of ignorance. That's the wrong term. It's the wrong term. It's unfair. Complete empathy and compassion without regards for the things that got someone there, I think is notable and laudable in many ways. There is the potential trade-off that almost a lack of accountability, if that makes sense. It's very hard. I don't even like having this conversation because I think it's so case by case about what I mean. I think what I said is going to be taken the wrong way, and it's not what I mean. I like the people who are completely sympathetic. Don't take that the wrong way. But otherwise, it sounds terrible. I'm like, there's three kinds of people, and I'm the only right kind of person. That's not what I mean at all, in the slightest. Wow, this video is going to be bad. Anyways, let's go ahead and move to the next thing. Oh, before we do, this is not something new, by the way. The whole concept of publishers sacrificing to be in the space. I mean, Moonmakers, IV Games, they did something fantastic a long time ago. I'll see if I can find the video. But they talked about how much they made off Moonmakers. And they talked about, because Moonmakers, they made $700,000 or whatever made on Kickstarter, and you're like, that must be a ton of money. And the answer is no. Not once you account for salary. Not once you account for expenses. Content creators. Not me. I didn't get paid. I wasn't involved in Moonmakers. But all these things are real costs. And they're costs that people don't necessarily assume are there. There's an interesting conversation I saw once about the nature of, if I'm creating a board game. It's an interesting one. This is a very interesting one, okay? Let's pretend I'm creating a board game. And let's pretend I happen to know how to illustrate. And let's say the costs of creating the board game, to make the board game start to finish, ignoring paying myself. If I hire an illustrator, if I hire designers, I'm the designer, let's say, I hire an illustrator, hire all these things, if I do all that, the cost to me are $150,000, okay? I assume most people would say that's a reasonable cost. How much I should pay myself? Well, I'm trying to pay myself from the profit, right? That's reasonable, right? What if I'm an illustrator? What if the costs, if I illustrate it, are only $100,000? Well, is that $50,000 go towards me? I'm the one illustrating it now, too. Like, how do you decide who gets paid for what and for what time? And the conversations, as usual, are complicated. Because the flip side is you have somebody who's like, I'm making a board game, and I'm going to pay myself $200,000 a year to do so, and that's my company, and you're investing in paying me $200,000 on Kickstarter. It's complicated, it's messy, but Moonmakers, going back to Moonmakers and IV Games, they showed all the breakdowns in a Moonmakers and IV segments talk. They showed all the breakdown of the cost, and they didn't make much. Because they are a company. They have salaries. They have people that they took away from their job and put them into this job. That's somebody whose salary you're paying to do X, and you instead pay them to do Y. That's a genuine cost to a company. It's a cost that we always like to pretend doesn't exist. You should factor in the cost of goods, the cost of shipping, and anything else is the profit, and from the profit you can pay yourself. That's not how companies should work. Not if you want companies to actually make games. And you might say, hey, the market's flooded with games. I don't really care if a few companies shut down. And honestly, I don't even disagree with you. I feel incredibly bad for the people who do shut down along the way, but I do agree with the economic aspect of, if there's a demand and enough demand and profit to be in the industry, then great, and if not, then it's not the right space for you. I just have incredible sympathy for every single person who tried to make it along the way and wasn't able to. At the end of the day, I believe the market should support what the market should support. But it's complicated. That should be the tagline of this video. I think we are going to skip the topic of the week because I spent like the topic of the week's 10 minutes on this. So that's out of order now. Now back to news. Back to news. Earth Under Siege Flashpoint, speaking of smaller companies and content creators and people who are not paying themselves in order to have their dream come true. Not content creators, that's not the same thing, game designers. Earth Under Siege Flashpoint opened up its doors to the late pledge, so you can check out that. I'll have links down below as well to everything. From there, move on to game news. Game news, we got a bunch more things. We have the Grand Carnival. The Grand Carnival from, can't remember the name of the company, but it's a polyomino game akin to Barron Park, New York Zoo, that kind of genre. Solid game, still have in my collection. Haven't played it in a while. I need to dive into it. They are coming out with an expansion for the On the Road expansion, I believe, straight to retail, but I'm intrigued, I'm curious. I've wanted an expansion for that game since I played it, which is probably says more about me than the game, but that's a different problem. From there we have Batman. Batman RPG from Monolith is going to be coming out May 24th. The Batman game seems to continuously be pushed off, Batman Season 3, but they have Batman RPG will be coming in some way, shape, or form. I think it's a different Kickstarter. I don't think it's bundled with the same one, but that will be May 24th, so we'll see there. We have Growl. Growl, which is a semi-social deduction game, is being picked up and rethemed as a Stranger Things game. Growl is a game I haven't had a chance to play. I've heard good things about it, but it's being rethemed as a Stranger Things entity or whatnot. We have Queen Games. Queen Games announcing an Empire edition of Kingdom Builder, which is really going to test me because I love Kingdom Builder. I got rid of it in favor of Winter Kingdom, but I'm curious what the future of those games are, because I like Winter Kingdom more. But I don't know if there's going to be expansion content for Winter Kingdom. It seems like they're leaning more heavily into the brand of Empire Builder, of Kingdom Builder. And I don't know. I'll have to make decisions around it. I don't have room for both in my collection. They're too similar. I prefer Winter Kingdom in some of the aspects it's doing, but if they don't add content to it and they're only continuing the brand of Kingdom Builder, I'll have to make some hard decisions there. We have Star Realms Legacy. They at PAX East, they showcased Star Realms Legacy. That's Star Realms, the deck building game. They're going to have some sort of legacy mode, apparently. Don't know much about it, but something to do with... I like Star Realms and I like legacy games, so that's an easy game for me to pick up and try. We have Arcs, which is a trick-taking game from Cole Worley. Don't know anything about it yet. I haven't read any of the blog posts or how it plays. I haven't read anything. I just know Cole Worley is a fantastic designer, very unique in what he does, and I've recently begun liking trick-taking games, so we'll check that out. We have Ticket to Ride Poland. This is a version of Ticket to Ride that did exist regionally, and they're bringing it out, it seems, to the general public. So if you want to dive into a new map pack for Ticket to Ride Poland will now be an option. I don't know if it's a map pack or a standalone game. And then lastly, we have Twilight Imperium coming to you as a roll and write. We have Twilight Inscription, TI4 or TI... I don't even know what it's going to call. Twilight Inscription. I like how they went with the TI, by the way. I do. Except for the fact that it's going to be insanely confusing to people who want TI. You're like, oh, should we play TI today? Yeah, I'd love to play TI. And then someone pulls out an 8-hour-long game. You're like, I thought we were playing a 20-minute game. Although I don't think people will actually refer to it as TI. But, either way, what rhymes with I? Are there any letters that rhyme with I? A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Why? Why? They should have called it TY. I don't know what the Y stands for. Not Twilight Inscription. Twilight... I don't have anything. But Twilight Y, TY, would have been just as confusing, but more interesting. In any case, that's the game news, which means it's time to move on to the topic of the week, which we will immediately skip, because we just had the topic of the week in the little longer segment we just did down there. So, let's go ahead and dive into it. Games I played. I have not logged any of the games I've played. I've taken notes. What I do in general, by the way, is when I have a backlog of stuff, I kind of just put them all into my phone, and I'll get to them later. And this is me getting to them later. I haven't actually logged any of these yet. They need to go from my draft email, which I have like 15. I have a lot of games I played recently, but I need to move them from my draft email into my app. I use BG Stats for those who want to know. And that takes more time, because I have to like remember who I played with, where did we play, roughly how long the game was, all those details, and I have a week and a half worth of data that I need to put in there, week plus worth of data. So, let's start through it. We have Golem. Played Golem, got another play of Golem, and Golem is a fantastic game that I really, really enjoy what it's doing. It's a solid game. I put up a review this past week. You can check that out. But I really like Golem. It's a game that I have a bit of a journey with in terms of I wanted to play it since I first heard about it. A Jewish-themed game from designers I respect. Already intrigued. And then from there, I played it online way back when it was first being released. And I really liked it. But I also wasn't sure if it would be a keeper. Like, I enjoyed it. But then the more I've played it since then, and I've played it like several times this week. Like, more I've played it since then, it's been really good. It's been really, really solid. It's gone from a game that I thought I would enjoy but would lose compared to other Euro games I have, like Coimbra, same designers. But overall, it's doing well. And I'm interested because I've seen mixed opinions on it. There are people who love the game, and then there are people that are okay with it. I believe like Dice Tower was very okay with it for the most part. Like they were just not bad, just not like, oh, this is amazing. And if I had to choose between Golem and Coimbra, I have to play it more. I think I would still pick Coimbra. I really like Coimbra. I have to pick Golem or Lorenzo. I think I'd pick Golem. Now, I've always liked Coimbra more than Lorenzo for context, and that's not the popular opinion, so extrapolate however you want from that. But either way, I think it would be Coimbra, Golem, Lorenzo. I need more plays. I need more time with the games. It's always easier to have an opinion based off of the freshness. From there we have Bardsong. Got a multiple plays of Bardsong this past week. Not enough to review it. Nowhere near enough to review it. I need to really dive into it. But Bardsong it's certainly enjoyable. I will talk more about it when I get to the review part of things. I enjoy it. It's on the lighter end so far, and I'm still fresh, still diving into it. I'm still figuring out that character creation, and I expected a lighter game. To be very clear, I always expected a lighter game, so I'm not disappointed. But I don't yet know. Bardsong could go either way. It could be a game that continues to grow on me and is just a lot of fun, or it could be a game that I'm like, this is a great dungeon crawler, but a little too basic. That would be me getting... Oh, I might have to take a call, by the way, some point in the middle of this for context. But yeah, that's Bardsong. From there, let me go ahead and reply to Jesse. Sounds good. Filming now. Okay, great. Cool. As in middle of the video. Great. Cool. Then, from there, going ahead back to where I was. So Bardsong. Bardsong, we'll see where it goes. I'll let you know more, obviously, as I continue to play it. We have Planet Unknown. Gotten multiple plays of Planet Unknown. This is a game I've been playing several times over the past few weeks, since I got it, basically. I really like Planet Unknown, with caveats. I'll have a review up probably this week. I wanted to get a bunch of plays with the various corporations. That was the delay until now, because I played it a bunch with the intro corps, so I want to try a bunch of corporations before I review it. And I like Planet Unknown. I don't love it, but I like it, and it's certainly sticking around for right now. We have Burn Cycle. Gotten a few plays of Burn Cycle as well. Burn Cycle is one that, again, I've played it a while ago, but I dove into it as well now to dive into it, since these are my first plays diving back into it since it arrived, changed from the whatever it was when it was on the Kickstarter. I don't really remember what changed, honestly. It seems to feel basically what we played. I'm sure there's details, but it's been a long time, and I don't remember which details changed, but I like it. With caveats. So we got a whole bunch of liking with caveats here. Golem I really like. Bardsong I don't know which way it'll go. Burn Cycle I don't know which way it'll go. Planet Unknown is sticking around, but it's not like, the best or game of all time or anything like that. Anyways, moving on from there to Caverna. Caverna, I will talk about it more at some point, because I'll be doing a play this, not that, between Agricola and Caverna. We'll be doing that at some point. I always liked Agricola, and I dove into Caverna for the first time. But I had complaints about Agricola, and we'll see where that translates into Caverna at some point soon. Older titles, it's nothing new, I just finally actually tabled it. So, yeah, we have Lost Ones. Gotten a few plays of Lost Ones from Greenbrier Games. We'll talk about it more, there'll be upcoming review at some point on that one. It's more of a story, it's like, think Seventh Continent, but like the most intro version of Seventh Continent you could find. We have Cascadia. No, that's not true. I wrote that incorrectly. I didn't play Cascadia. I played Calico. We got in a play of Calico. I wish we had played Cascadia. I like Cascadia so much more than Calico. But either way, I like Calico. Calico's a fun game. I'm happy I played it. Good game as usual. Quacks of Quedlinburg. Got in a play of Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is a lot of fun. Always fun to dive into it. I should probably incorporate the latest expansion. I do have it. I just haven't played it yet. I incorporated the first expansion at this point, but I like it. It's a fun game. I actually won. I won. I never win. My wife always wins that game. I don't know why or what she does, but I finally won. It's only because they had one of the chips in the bag that has a strong catch-up mechanic aspect, that it's worth the number of rat tails you have, which means I was losing the whole time, and so I was able to catch up, which is probably frustrating. But either way, we have Viral. Viral, which is on the table here. This is Viral from Arcane Wonders. I've had this for a while now and kind of ignored it. I only sat down and tabled it because Jesse and Shira from Cracklope said it's better than it looks. It is better than it looks. I still don't like the look of it. I'm going to be diving into it more this week. That's why it's on the table. But we will see. I'm sure I'll cover it at some point. I have very mixed thoughts on Viral. We'll talk about it more. But we have Paleo. Paleo is so good. I haven't played Paleo in a few months now. I love Paleo. Every time I can dive into it, I always am reminded of why I enjoy it so much. It is such a good, enjoyable experience. We have Valeria. Dove into Valeria Card Kingdoms again. We've slowly been introducing Jesse Quacklope to the game, so we played with him a few weeks ago. Now we played with the Crimson Seas expansion, dove into that aspect of the game. I like the Crimson Seas expansion. I don't think it's essential, but it adds more things you can do. And then the next morning after that, I dove into Valeria Darksworn, the cooperative version of Valeria with my son, dove into that, and really enjoyed it. It was the intro game, so I need to play it more, but I really enjoyed the cooperative version. I like the competitive version too. I think I'm happy to have both versions in my collection. It's interesting. I should probably do a video on some point about games that have gone cooperative. Because with Ares Expedition, with Valeria, with Viticulture, there's a whole list of games that start off competitive, introduce a cooperative version of it, and sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. And there's a lot to be said about the game design choices that go behind that, and how I prefer certain game design choices. Then we have Agricola. I got another play of Agricola as well. Again, I'm doing a whole play that's not that between Caverna and Agricola at some point, so I wanted to get a bunch of them tabled. I want more plays of Caverna as well before I do the comparison. For context, I only got one play so far. I need more plays before I do a comparison. We have Welcome to the Moon. Gotten a bunch more plays of Welcome to the Moon. We've slowly been going through it. I think we're up to the 5th, I think we've played 5. We're up to the 6th planet of Welcome to the Moon. Once I've gone through all 8, I'll probably have a review. There's 8 different maps in Welcome to the Moon. We have Golem again. Got another play of Golem in. Such a good game. We have The Great Wall. Oh my gosh, speaking of great games, The Great Wall. Now, The Great Wall is expensive, by the way. I've talked about this in my videos during the week. It is an expensive game. I am not recommending it. I'm saying I really like The Great Wall. Like, I really like it. And if you have the disposable income to be able to justify that compared to buying like 4 or 5 other games instead, then go ahead. Get The Great Wall. But it's an expensive game. And I don't know if the cost ratio is worth it compared to other games you could be getting that are just as good. So I really like The Great Wall, but also maybe don't get it or not. I don't know. We have TAC. Gotten a few plays of TAC this week. 3 plays of TAC, which is nice. I love TAC. Always fun. I'm actually going to be diving into TAC and Santorini and Mythic Mischief very shortly for a video. We have Taco Cat. Taco Cat from Exploding Kittens. My daughter still pulls it out to play with me. I still enjoy it. It's not a great game. It's not even a good game, but I have fun playing it with her, so I would never choose it. I would never ever choose it. But it's not the worst game to play with her when she chooses it. And then lastly, I got in a play of Veiled Fate. Veiled Fate is a game that I don't know how public I've been about it, meaning I haven't reviewed it, that's what I mean. I'm saying, but I've talked about it when it comes up. From IV Games, Mythic Mischief is one of my favorite games of all time. Moonrakers is situationally good. I've had great plays of Moonrakers and bad plays of Moonrakers. It depends on the group. The expansions hopefully address that. I will be diving into the expansions at some point. And then Veiled Fate was my least favorite so far based on only one play. But I dove into Veiled Fate last night and had an incredible experience. I still don't know whether I need Veiled Fate in my collection. I still don't know. It was a 6-player game with teams, and I really liked Veiled Fate with teams. Okay, I really, really enjoyed it in the team mode. It added a whole new dimension to the game that really significantly improved it, and you should watch that gameplay. I don't know when it's going up, but it's going up on Quackalope. 6-player game of Veiled Fate. So worth watching. Like, I can't even... It's so worth watching. Whatever. Point is that, despite being worth watching, I really liked that play of Veiled Fate, but my opinion has gone up significantly. It's gone from like a 3 to easily a 3.5. I don't think it hits a 4 yet for me, and that's the balance for me. I think it's a little too long for the experience I get out of it compared to other games that I would play in that spot. And again, I think it's a kind of game that, like Moonrakers, is going to be situationally better or worse, and I usually don't keep those kinds of games. I like having consistent quality in the games I'm playing. And that's everything I've played for right now. There's more stuff to go. So, let's go ahead and dive into the videos of the week. That's all of that. Videos of the week. Starting off with, what do we have? We're up to Saturday. Saturday, we had a gameplay for Last Light with Warrior Candidate playing online TTS, 2-player gameplay. I know a lot of people want to see that. In case you missed that, you can check that out. I really enjoyed Last Light at 2 players. I'm happy I had the chance to dive into it with him because I would never, I reviewed the game as well. Later on Saturday, I reviewed Last Light, but I would never have bothered playing it at 2 players before the review, so I'm happy he reached out and asked for that gameplay, because I would have just said, hey, Last Light, 2 to 4 player game, I've played it at 3 and 4 players. I wouldn't have tried to, but it was really good at 2. It's really good. I still think 3 and 4 is my preferred player count, but I would totally be willing to play it at 2 players. On Sunday, I had 2 videos. I had a video for Castles of Burgundy, what I want to see out of the Castles of Burgundy. It was basically talking about the nature of the fact that GameFound is Awakened Realms is reprinting Castles of Burgundy, and I am torn. Like, I like Awakened Realms, and I love Castles of Burgundy, but I am torn as to whether they are going to be like the third coming of the game, and it's going to be amazing, or whether they're going to screw it up for the 3rd time. And I'm not saying it from a stance of maliciousness, I'm saying it from the stance of it's going to be hard to give people what they want, especially when your brand is deluxifying things to a point that people are frustrated with how deluxified they get. It's going to be very hard to make people happy. Selfishly speaking, I just care if they make me happy, but that's not how the world works, so we'll see. Later on Sunday, I had an unboxing for Gloomhaven Crimson Scales. This is a fan-made expansion, and if you're like, why'd you do an unboxing of a fan-made expansion? It's because it doesn't look like a fan-made expansion. I recommend checking out that video if you are a Gloomhaven fan at all, because It's very impressive, and they do plan on doing a second printing. So you have an opportunity to sign up, get your name on the newsletter, and be signed up for the next printing. It is a not-for-profit game. That does not mean it's cheap. It just means that they're not making a profit, because that's the only way that they kind of semi-have half permission to do it. So yeah, worth checking out that unboxing. It's insane what these people have done with this game. Insane. Then from there we have Monday. Monday we had 2 back or not to back. A whole bunch of stuff I wanted to get. I want to get Assault on Doomrock. I want to get the Sandcastles game. Some things I am getting. Anastyr I'm getting. The Sleeping Gods I'm probably getting. Distance Guys. A whole bunch of things. Not a cheap week. I've had some pretty good weeks in the past of not spending money. This is not one of those weeks. We have Tuesday. Tuesday was a review for Viticulture World. Speaking of games going cooperative. Viticulture World is fine. Arguably speaking, it's probably a 4 to 5. The hesitancy towards Viticulture World is the fact that I don't see a reason to play Viticulture World when I could just play Viticulture. I am happy to play Viticulture World. Just this week, Jesse was offering me a list of games that he wanted to get more plays in, and I was like, I'll play that, that, and that. And Viticulture World was one of the ones I was happy to dive into. I like it. If you ever give me a choice between Viticulture and Viticulture World, I'd rather just play Viticulture. This is almost reminds me of my initial thoughts towards Ares Expedition, which was fairly negative because I was comparing it to Terraforming Mars. And in that sense, Terraforming Mars kills Ares Expedition. But Ares Expedition has found a place in my collection, both because it's now my preferred way to play Terraforming Mars solo, now because it's also my preferred way to play Terraforming Mars cooperative, but also because there were times when Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, is a faster game than Terraforming Mars. And so despite the fact that it does not compare to Terraforming Mars for me, there's a reason to pull it out and play. For me, I don't have a reason to play Viticulture World unless if you personally sit there and say, hey, I'd love to play Viticulture World with you, then I'll play it. That's the only reason. I like it. It's a good game. I just prefer Viticulture World. That's a long time. It's very weird. Being a reviewer is very weird. There's such a messed up aspect of the balance between comparing things to other things versus a thing in its own right. And it's very hard to make that separation. If you handed me Viticulture World and you said, here's the game, I'd enjoy it. But I'm so not passionate about it, even though it's a 4 to 5. I'm just so not passionate about it because it's directly comparable to something that's better, which makes it very hard to separate the two. And it makes the impression. I remember it's interesting when I was offered to when Stronghold Games was reaching out to me to review Ares Expedition the expansions. I found out from them that they're like, oh, but we thought Board Game doesn't even like the game, and they're like, no, he does like the game. He just doesn't like it as much as Terraforming Mars, which is true, but it's very hard to. It's very important to make your message clear, which I don't always do. It's a balance. It is such a balance. I should edit more videos. Anyways, that is that. Then from there, later on Tuesday, we had a review for DC Comics deck building game. Totally fine game. Gave it a 3 out of 5. Don't care if I never play it again. I will be playing it again because my son really, really likes it, apparently. My son was in that video. He's a bit of a handful. But he really likes the game, and we will be playing it if he asks to play it. And if he doesn't, it will eventually go away. I thought DC Comics deck building game was fun, and I'd rather play other deck builders for myself. But it was fun. It was a good game. 3 out of 5. Then later on Tuesday, we had a review for Golem. Golem got a 4.5 out of 5. I really like Golem. I find with these heavier Euros, the line for me often is a 4 or a 4.5. They're harder to table, they take up more time, more space, and I find that a game that's a 4, a heavy Euro that's a 4, is often that's really good, also goodbye. The 4.5s are the ones that stick around. I would, if you asked me to play Golem right now, I'd be down. I like that game a lot. It is really, really good. I might be biased by the theme. I wonder, especially because the reviews are mixed on it. Some people love it, some people are okay on it. I wonder if I'm biased by the theme. I don't know. I don't care. I like the game. Then Wednesday. Wednesday was Our Games Getting Old. Speaking of not making your message clear, this is a good example of that. Our Games Getting Old was a video about the nature of the question of, are games just repeating themselves? Are games just saddling you with the expectation to buy more, to buy more, to buy more, and they're not even giving you an incentive, a reason to get them, as opposed to diving into tons of amazing games instead? Constantly putting out new content without putting out new innovation. That was the premise of the video. And many people got that, but there was a large enough population of people that seemed to think I was against new games. The second half of the video is me, or that might be the problem, honestly. It's probably not the second half. It's probably the last third of the video. The last third of the video is me diving into, but no, here are the games that have been amazing. Here are the games that I've found and encountered and loved because of the constant innovation and iteration that the industry provides. I think making new stuff is part of the process of, any medium. And I think flooding the market with stuff that is not worth paying attention to is a consequence of just trying to create in a space and trying to create the next best thing. And that means you're going to create a lot of games that are not worthy of your time. But you're also going to create some gems worth paying attention to. And that was really the point of my video. But again, a portion of the people watching it thought I was saying stop making new games. I wasn't. I'm still saying stop buying new games. You should stop buying new games because you don't want to be the person, or you might want to be the person. I'm certainly that person now. But you have to decide if you want to be the person who's testing out all the games, or if you're the person who waits 2 to 3 years to find the things that rise to the top and only try those. But yeah, it was definitely not against games. I'm all for games. You may have noticed that. I'm all for games. Then, Wednesday. That was Wednesday. Thursday was possibly 2 videos. I say possibly because I'm not yet sure. Thursday is certainly a video review for Brass versus Brass Birmingham. Sorry, Brass Birmingham versus Brass Lancashire, but it's really more a review of Brass and then potentially a discussion around Brass Birmingham versus Lancashire. I mean, it's not a play this, not that. It's more of a, here's Brass, and by the way, here's my preference of the two. They're basically the same game with minor differences. One of the Brasses is leaving my collection for context. But that was Thursday morning. And then potentially Thursday afternoon, I did an unboxing for Marvel United. As you may notice, it's still in shrink, which means I haven't filmed it yet. But I might film it, and if I do, I might put it up, or if not, it'll go up next week sometime. So that's Marvel United, the X-Men version, the all-in X-Men unboxing, not the all-in from the original, because I have the original, but all-in for everything else. That will be a fun video, or it'll be fun for me, because it's all the fun, shiny little minis, and then we can actually start playing it with my son, who's been waiting for the past week and a half while it's on the, past 4 days. It's been on the floor sitting in shrink for 4 days, and he's been wanting to play with it, and I'm like, you just have to wait till I unbox it. You have to wait till I unbox it. Anyways, that is coming later Thursday or next week. And then Friday. Friday was upcoming Kickstarters for May. Going over the various Kickstarters that are upcoming in May and just, showcasing all of those things. And I'm not really talking about what was in the video because that's another one I haven't filmed yet. I'm actually really ahead on videos. I have a whole lot of videos filmed, but just like some of the ones that are coming up really soon I haven't done yet. So I need to get on that. But that will be Friday's video. And then today is Saturday. Today we will have 2 reviews. We have a review for Mountains and Molehills from the OP, and then we have a review for Euthia going up as well. Euthia Torment of Resurrection. That's going to be a game going up on GameFound next week, so I'll have the review up later today. Yeah. And then next week we'll have a few things. We will have games leaving the collection for April, as well as I'm probably, if I film it, this is the 3rd time I'm saying that, it's not a good sign. If I have a chance to film it, I'll be filming, which I plan on doing today, so we'll see. But I plan on doing another video on top 10 YouTubers. It's been a while since I did that. And I want to talk about board game YouTubers, obviously, but going over a bunch of channels in the space, talking about which ones I watch and why. This one specifically focused around the channels that I find myself currently more compelled by. It's more of a current thing, and it changes. I find I dance around with the content I engage with. I'm subscribed to a million channels, but the ones I choose to watch this week versus next week versus whatever, those things definitely dance around a bit. And so right now it's going to be going over the channels I am currently find myself watching a lot of. There are more than 10 for context, but I had to whittle it down as much as I possibly could. I'll be cheating and throwing in a few extras as well, and even that will still not be the full list. But either way, that will be next week. And then lastly next week, I don't have a date yet. I hope to start doing live stream content on a regular basis starting next week. I hope to. I want to get it locked in. I've already been doing a bunch of things on my end, this whole moving to full time. Yesterday I filmed 9 videos. It was amazing. That's really I need to film on average 2 videos a day to keep up. I was able to film 9 videos yesterday, which buys me time. If I can do that again today, it buys me time. And not 9. If I can do 5 today, that buys me another day. I want to get 2 weeks ahead on content so I can stop saying things like, this will be filmed maybe before you watch this. I don't know. But that's part of my plan right now. And still finding that balance. And then from there, I want to start doing live streams next week. I think if I push it off too long, it just won't happen. I want to start having weekly live streams every single week. That's my goal. We'll see if it actually happens. But that's it. That is everything. That is all the stuff. Oh, games on the table. Games on the table. Let's talk about it. Viral. I want to dive into Viral. This is with the expansion, by the way. It's with the Hive expansion. I will never play this without the Hive expansion, just for the record. But I plan on diving into this some more. Probably reviewing it at some point. 10 Penny Parks. I've played this a whole bunch at different player counts. The only thing I have not done is I have not played this at 2 players yet, and that's such an easy player count to get that I plan on diving into it at 2 players, then filming a review of it. I don't always try to get every player count when I review games. I try to do what I can, but I find that if I wait too long for all the bases to be covered, then I just don't review it. I've had 1 or 2 games that I've been trying to play with all the expansions before I review them, and that's been some of them have been sitting around for a year on review. So I try to do what I can, but 2 players is so easy that I want to knock this out. And same thing with Get On Board. Played this a bunch, have not played it at 2 players yet. So same issue with both these games. I want to dive into them both at 2 player, then review them. I'll save you some time. I like them both. Love is a different conversation, but I like them both. From there we have Everybody Lies, the newest Batman game from Portal Games. It's going to be a Batman version of Detective. It's in Shriek. I plan on breaking the Shriek, diving into that one. We have Fire and Stone from Pegasus Spiel. Plan on diving into that one as well, also in Shriek. And then, if I unbox all this stuff, for Marvel United X-Men, while I have played the base game with my son, because I got that one to have it available, I have not played any of the expansion content yet, and I'd love to dive into some of these things. We'll see which ones. And that is your week in review. Coming in at 35 minutes, I'm glad that I scratched the topic of the week, which is going to be about innovation and iteration, but talking about that, but we'll save that for another week, perhaps. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Thanks so much for being here, and as always, have a good one.